If you spot
Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the Ruel, and peace and citations to the elect of Yasharallah. And quick lesson, man. I saw this TikTok, man, on this plant, because it's springtime. I'm mowing the lawn, weed whacking, doing yard work, because if you've ever been around Eve, Eve wants you to do everything, all right. I mean, she's helping me out with the yard and whatnot, but, make this house all pretty and nice and presentable just for it to be destroyed by nuclear missiles, man. That's how I'm thinking. But hey, just to make her happy and to make her, I don't want to say shut up, but yeah, for lack of better terms, leave me alone. Shit, I'ma do yard work, cause hey, why not? I'm a man. If shoot, when I mow the lawn or weed whack, do yard work, I just put my AirPod in and listen to the apostles. Listen to the men of GMS anyway. So, why not? Gives me alone time with the Lord. All right, but all that to say is, me doing all this weed whacking.
If you spot this little plant growing by your vegetable patch or along the roadside, don't be so quick to pull it as a common weed. This is purslane, also known as pigweed, little melon herb, or horse tooth herb. It's an annual herb from the Portulaceae family. You can easily recognize it by its reddish-purple stems, plump and juicy bright green leaves, pale white roots, small cheerful yellow flowers, and dark brown fruits, because it gathers 5 different colors in one plant. Many people also call it the 5-element herb. When I was young, we often picked fresh purslane from the fields. We would either dry it into vegetable flakes or pickle it to keep for a long time. That's why villagers also praise it as the longevity herb. Elderly folks with experience in the countryside usually wash it clean, then pound it into a fine paste for various uses. Now, do you recognize purslane? If you spot this little
And man, I see this. We all see this plant all the time, and we don't think much of it. All we think about, oh, it's a weed. Let's get it out of here. Look, it's growing on the side of the house, or it's growing, making the sidewalk ugly. Let's cut it. Let's destroy it. Let's spray some pesticides on it. Some weed killer. When hey, you could eat this thing. You could pickle it. You could eat it. You could chew, like he said. The elderly people would smash it into a paste and apply it. For multiple applications. I would have never known. All right. But all thanks to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the creator of all things, the Most High. All right. Who created everything, the heavens and the earth, and his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Thanks to them, thanks to the Most High and his only begotten Son, he has increased the knowledge of all things in these times, man. All right. By way of his internet. The Lord created the internet for, purposes like this, to spread the truth around, to spread knowledge around in these end days. All right. Like the scriptures say, in the last days, knowledge shall increase. And I would have never found this out if it wasn't for the internet, Okay, because by word of mouth, this society now, if everything was still word of mouth, nobody would know this, man. Know stuff like this. Or increase in knowledge, It's lucky.
Let's see what wild edible and medicinal plants are growing in my yard. This is shepherd's purse. She's a really wonderful hemostatic, meaning helps to control bleeding, especially with heavy menstrual bleeding or hemorrhaging. Pair it up with yarrow and you've got yourself a powerhouse duo. And this is henbit. Henbit can be eaten right from the ground or added to soups and salads made into pesto or dried for tea. She's also packed full of vitamins and minerals. And here's my friend chickweed, one of my favorite spring greens. You can eat it straight from the ground or add it to salads, a sandwich, a smoothie. It's also moistening, so it's wonderful for burns, rashes, or other skin irritations. And here we have wild lettuce, your best friend if you struggle with sleep or pain, and especially if you can't sleep because you're in pain. And that little spiky mohawk on the back of the leaves lets you know that that's wild lettuce. This is yellow dock. The young leaves can be eaten raw or added to soups and stews. Just enjoy in moderation because it does contain oxalic acid, which can cause some kidney issues. And here's delicious wood sorrel, one of my favorite wild snacks. It's lemony and tart and just really delicious. It's packed full of vitamin C and other vitamins and minerals. And of course, everyone knows the amazing dandelion, edible and medicinal from root to flower. Dandelion stimulates digestion. And of course, everyone knows the amazing dandelion, edible and medicinal from root to flower. Dandelion stimulates digestion.
You hear that? From root to flower.
Digestion, promotes detoxification, and is full of vitamins and minerals.
Put it in a tea, okay, or something, you know.
Digestion, promotes detoxification, and is full of vitamins and minerals.
And I got some dandelion tea that I buy from the store, and it detoxes your liver, man. Okay, it detoxes your liver, which most people in these days, all right, need. Okay, because people drink excess alcohol, they smoke. Well, I don't smoke no more. All right, they eat high protein diet, which damages your kidneys. All right, you know, and this filter it helps with your kidneys too. Okay, it detoxifies those filtering organs in your body. Okay, because people got high protein diets, high carbs, all right, no freaking fiber at all, you know. They don't exercise, and like I said, they drink a lot of alcohol, which damages these organs in your body, all right. That's why people got all types of how do you say it, side effects, and not side effects, but you know, they got acne in places where they shouldn't. They're overweight, you know, stomach problems, all problems of all types, man. You know, lack of energy. They need energy drinks with 300 milligrams of caffeine, and they drink 2 of those a fucking day, which also damages your kidneys because they have that preservative called sucralose in it, you know. All right, just to get by through the workday, man, you know. All right, and then once that energy drink wears off, which it will in an hour, all right, depending on your tolerance, you know, you're screwed. You're even more tired than you were after you drank it, man. It's because the people's diet here and their way of living here in America, all right, because America pushes a death style, a suffering death style. You know, back in the ancient days, people didn't have to worry about this, man. They were building monuments. They were building buildings. All right, you know, in the even as recent of 100 years ago, you know, and less, people were doing all types of work, you know, with alcohol and whatnot, you know, smoking and shit, because the earth wasn't as damaged. All right, there wasn't as many preservatives and artificial colorings and flavors and foods, which damages your kidneys and your organs, where you're all tired and whatnot. You know, they didn't have no energy drinks. They had coffee and tea, you know. All right, and they were building skyscrapers and whatnot, building railroads throughout the whole United States, you know. So my grandpa, you know, I was talking to my brother Mataza, you know, I was talking, you know, I was sitting down at a cookout, you know, with his family. And I was, you know, I was talking about how my grandpa was a railroad worker, man, you know. I can't imagine me doing that, you know. And here I am working at this warehouse job, complaining because I work 10 hours, barely have time to myself. The boxes are a little bit too heavy. Man, people, you know, our people back in the ancient days, not even the ancient days, our people, even to this day, are busting their ass, you know. All right. Our people are in bondage, okay? But, hey, back to the herbs, man. You know, the Lord gave us these herbs for our healing, for our benefit, okay? But growing up in America and us, having our heritage and our knowledge and our wisdom taken and stripped away from us by the white man. You know, we don't know nothing no more. We didn't know that these plants, these so-called weeds, all right, in our backyard, front yard, on our sidewalk, had benefits, and we could eat them straight off the ground. Put them in teas, put them in a smoothie, and they have all these beautiful benefits, all right, that heal us, you know, make us whole again, you know, detoxify our livers, you know, all right, good for your eyes and all your organs. I bet you every single herb in this video, I have it in my backyard, my front yard, you know, they look familiar, you know, and here I am mowing them down and whatnot, you know, weed whacking them, you know, plucking them out the ground and putting these flowers and, you know, planting grass over it, or putting gravel, rocks over them, you know, getting rid of them, you know. All right, and Dawadi Halbashmi Al-Shai, you know. So I'm gonna start studying, you know, getting into the herbs and, you know, writing it down and taking notes and seeing, you know, what you know, what's good and, you know, and what's what. So when I go out there, I could pick the right plant and not the wrong one. Pick the right plant and start eating and, you know, desiring, taking pleasure in the herbs of the Lord.
These feathery little leaves is a baby yarrow, one of my very favorite herbs. Like shepherd's purse, it's also helpful to staunch bleeding, but also has so many more benefits. Now, I'm in North Texas, but I want to know where you are and what's popping up in your area.
I live in Wichita, Kansas, a state and a half over, you know, up north, and we get these same plants and weeds, okay? I don't even want to call them weeds, man, because they're not weeds. Well, yeah, they're technically weeds by definition, but, you know, by stigmatized words, they're not weeds. They're actually herbs of the field that the Lord
This live is enough
with, man, you know. Wadi al-Bashimi al-Shai. So I typed in there's even edible flowers, you know.
Let's see what wild edible and
What's the one that you know, look at all this stuff.
let's see what wild edible and
Oh, I just showed you that one. You know, all these herbs that you see in your backyard, you know, you could eat them, you know. Not every single one of them. Some of them are toxic and whatnot. But the Lord gave us, hey, the ones that we think that are just not pest, but
convinces that this right here ain't.
You could eat them, but we don't know no more, okay? Because that knowledge was taken away from us like this. When I was a kid, you know, I used to be scared of this. I used to be scared to step on this barefoot. And, you know, it was.
They really convince us that this right here ain't nothing but a weed. But this plant right here, it's been used for over 2,000 years. Ancient doctors back in the day used to use it for liver problems, poison, and healing the body. And now people just cut it down like it's useless. You see, you don't really want these big ones because they're a little bit more bitter. But like these small ones like this, that's the ones you want, man. They're a lot more tender and they got a little sweet flavor. It's like a mix of a cucumber and a celery like that. They call that a thistle, but on the bayou, we call it a chadron. Cut all them pickles off of there so they don't get you like that. And I seen them spraying something out here, but I think that was just a flavor enhancer. And look at that right there. About to go home, clean that up, put some salt, pepper, vinegar on that. But that's a good little snack right there, yeah. Y'all, what y'all know about that? Ain't nobody but them down south kids that know about that right there. Choo! Got us some of them good old chadron at the house, baby. We got them things back home. Now we just gonna finish taking off this spiky part. Like that. And then you wanna peel back this outer layer. The outer layer is really tough. You wanna just peel that back like this. Then you get that tender inside. You got your. What we got? We'll give them a nice little wash down. We got them babies all cut up, and we're gonna hit that with a little bit of that spicy Doc dust. Add us some. Give them a nice little wash down. We got them babies all cut up, and we're gonna hit that with a little bit of that spicy Doc dust.
So yeah, Akim, we get the point, So just wanted to do a lesson on this topic. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 38:4. It says, "The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth." Okay, talking about the herbs. "And he that is wise will not abhor them." All right, so a wise man will not ignore them. Ignore them basically, man. Okay. So the Lord, hey, we don't need to go to the doctor and receive and get prescribed petroleum-based lab-grown medicine, man. All right, which only gives us even more side effects that we already have from the disease that we have, man. And those things, those petroleum medicines that the white man gives you, all they do is treat the problem. They don't cure the problem, okay? Proverbs 15:17, and you have to keep going back to the doctor for more pills, more medicine, more pills, okay? But when you eat the herbs of the field that the Lord blessed us with, all right, it cures. Well, let me not say that, because even though it's true, I could get my video taken down. Medical misinformation. But hey, these herbs of the field, they stop, all right, your problem that you have, man. And they make you whole again. Proverbs 15:17, it says, "Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hatred wherewith," man. All right, because the scriptures say excess of meat brings forth choler, all right. Because hey, the Lord bless us with meat to eat: lamb, chicken, beef, and whatnot, salmon, sardines. But that's you eventually get sick. Okay, the herbs bring you whole again, man. Makes you lighter, make you smarter, heals you. Okay, yes, there's a lot of vitamins and nutrients in a piece of steak, all right, but there's always a trade-off, man. It makes you more sluggish, it ages you faster, okay. But the herbs, they're cleaner, even though there's overall less nutrients. But hey, you can find every single nutrients in meat in some type of herb in the world, man. Because there's billions of herbs, species of herbs on Earth. All right, and there's how many animals that are lawful to eat on Earth? All right, just a handful, Okay. All right, so yeah, man. Quick. This is 2 Maccabees 5:27. It says, "But Judas Maccabees with 9 others, or thereabout, withdrew himself into the wilderness," okay, "and lived in the mountains after the manner of beasts," okay. All right, so they lived off the land, all right, off grid, all right. That's what it means. "With this company who fed on herbs continually, lest they should be partakers of the pollution." All right, just like I was talking about, the pollution is, this American heathenistic lifestyle. Do what thou wilt, We all know how Esau, the so-called white man, is all about fast food, trying to preserve the food with unwanted, unhealthy ingredients, which will pollute you, all right? But if you eat the herbs of the field, okay, that the Lord bless us with, natural herbs, okay, you're going to be whole again. You ain't going to have to worry, That's why it's very important, Akim, to get into the herbs and the knowledge of the vegetables and plants and fruits to heal you, man, okay? While you can, and the Lord made it easy for us by way of the internet, 1 Daniel 1 and, was it 12? It says, I'm going to start at 11. "Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse," which is plants, all right, herbs, okay, like beans and, legumes and herbs and whatnot, "to eat, and water to drink. Then let our countenance be looked upon before thee in the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So the consent to them in this manner, and prove them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse. As for these 4 children, Yahweh gave them knowledge and skill in all learning of the wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Now at the end of the days, all right, that the king had said he should bring them in. Then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar, and the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king, and in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel continued even unto the first year of King Cyrus. So eating the herbs of the field, man, going vegan for a little bit, doing a smoothie fast, fruit fast of herbs, vegetables, and fruits fast, which I be doing sometimes, man. Especially when I get sick, it just, I just naturally want to start craving fruits and vegetables, man. I be sharper. My vision is clearer. My eyes are wider. I have way more energy. My mood is better. I'm more patient. Like I said, my mind is sharper. I have more energy. My muscles aren't as big. I'm not as strong. But that's a trade-off though. But hey, like I said, my mind is sharper. Okay. What else? I have mental clarity. Okay, I'm more patient. I'm in a better mood. All right, even my voice becomes deeper. My countenance becomes more fair. I'm not talking about lighter skin, but my skin clears up. Okay, my teeth become whiter. My breath becomes that doesn't smell as much. What else? I don't have no aches and pains. It's easier for me to sleep. What's another one? My gums heal, my teeth heal, everything heals, man. What's another one? I just want to be specific, man, because people don't go vegan on a vegan diet or do a fast for nothing, man. And I pair that up with fast, like a natural fast, and I take black seed oil, which is a herb, okay, and whatnot, man.